So, welcome to the art of transformational writing, how to craft your meaningful and best selling book. And I just want to say our deepest intentions for you today is that you are supported in your entire journey of visioning, crafting, creating, publishing, and launching your future book. And so I want to thank you for taking the time to be here and for resourcing yourself today by gathering some more wisdom that you might need to birth your book out into the world and to touch hearts and to change lives. I'm Jessica Hadari, and I'm the organizer of this series. This is actually part of a series supporting women to write, publish, and launch their books. And I'm also the founder of the Women Light Leaders Network, which has been a sanctuary of networking and wisdom sharing like this and community for nearly 20 years. And I really believe that collaboration and wisdom sharing makes it easier for us as women to build what we came here to create. And as you know, this class is also a fundraiser for Right Girl. So 100% of the proceeds for the ticket sales, 100% of ticket sales for this masterclass are donated to Right Girl. Right Girl is a nonprofit that matches teen girls to professional women writers who mentor them in creative writing, script writing, playwriting, fiction, nonfiction. It's an incredible nonprofit. Right Girl has received numerous awards, and including being honored by Michelle Obama with the National Arts and Humanities Youth Program Award. And I just put the link in the chat if you want to check Right Girl out or donate a little bit more on your own directly to that incredible organization. I just want to thank you because many of you donated very generously. And so thank you so much for being so generous. And just by being here, we are coming together to create change and to change lives, not only with our message, but with our money. So thank you so much. So I'm going to dive right in to inviting each panelist to introduce themselves. So panelists, if you have your phone handy and you want to keep track of time, go ahead and set your timer for 1 minute. I know it's not a lot of time, but we're going to be able to touch in with the panelists throughout this whole training together today. So panelists, I'm going to call on each of you. You'll have a minute to share how you support writers and authors, and to go ahead and share your contact information. And audience members, I highly recommend saving their contact information, taking action, reaching out proactively to follow up with the presenters here today, because each one of these incredible women is giving her contact information, making herself available in some really incredible ways. So stay connected so you can continue to be supported. So I'm going to invite Vanessa Nixon to go first. Vanessa, you can unmute yourself and share how you'd like to introduce yourself to our audience today.
Thank you, Jessica. I'm so thrilled to be here with you all. I'm Vanessa Nixon. I'm a traditional naturopath, herbalist, and homeopath. And my passion is really to support women, especially women in midlife, to navigate peri, mid, and post-menopause through the gifts of nature, through natural health, natural beauty, and natural movement, so that they can truly step into the next chapter of their lives feeling really healthy and vibrant and make the impact in the world that they want to make, using nature as their guide, using all of their skills, all of their gifts and wisdom that they've accumulated throughout their life, and really do what they're meant to do in the world. So thank you.
Beautiful, Vanessa. And feel free to paste your contact information and any links in the chat so the audience can reach out to you. June, welcome.
Thank you so much. I am also thrilled and excited to be here with all of you. I'm June Bennett, and I am the founder of the Author Oasis, where I encourage my authors to write, replenish, and repeat. So as a holistic author coach, I put a loving fire under the feet of my clients so that they prioritize self-care throughout their entire book writing journey, so that they follow through with their action steps, and so that they get their book completed. I support women authors and entrepreneurs to uncover and clearly convey their most compelling stories and potent practices to align with and easily attract their soulmate readers and clients. Sometimes I step in as a ghostwriter when the coaches, healers, teachers, and therapists that I work with are too busy running their businesses and living life to complete their books. I do the heavy lifting for them. So thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, June. Monique, welcome.
Hi, Jessica. Thank you so much for organizing this, and welcome to everyone who had the courage to step forward and say, yes, I have a story to share. I'm Monique ALVAREZ, the founder of Alma Publishing, and I'm very passionate about helping women share the story they want to share in the way they want to share it and be able to profit from it in a way that makes sense for them. So we have found that bridging the worlds of publishing and business is really our specialty, and making sure that women know how to share their story without being censored, without someone else owning the rights to it, and without being lost in how to connect this to the work that they do and how they can get more clients from it. So we like to say, visionaries, disruptors, and starseeds, we get you. And we are definitely ready to put your work into the world.
Thank you so much, Monique. Welcome. Beth Barani.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I am Beth Barani, creativity coach for writers. My passion is helping you unlock your creative process. My specialty is working with people at the innovative edge of creating something new, whether it's science fiction and fantasy, or thought leaders or creative writers who are trying to get their story out in a unique way. I'm very thrilled to be here. I write science fiction and fantasy myself, have lots of material out for writers to inspire them how to get from little seedling out to full-blown tree of their beautiful book to bring it out into the world. So happy to be here, Jessica. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Blessings, Beth. Welcome, welcome. All right, so we're gonna dive into some rounds of discussion and just some really juicy, soulful content. My deepest intention, really, with our time together, is that you come today, you gather some shifts in perspective, that you gather some wisdom, that you have time to kind of take that with you, metabolize it, maybe reach out and actually get some support from any of the panelists here today, and that you can know that you can also come back to any of our future trainings to just continue to learn and remove the mystery of this book writing, publishing world. So I'm really delighted that what we have for you today is meant to be pretty soulful and really touching on that transformational piece of the writing process and being a transformational author. So with that being said, we want to hear from you, audience. You can go ahead and type into the chat your vision. What is your dream book? What is the book that you are writing or want to write? You can go ahead and type that into the chat, and we would love to hear from you. So feel free to share with us in the chat. And we're going to go into our first round of Q&A. Now, this is a quickie round. So again, panelists, this is 1 minute each. So you can go ahead and take your phone, set your timer so that you have that time in front of you. So here's the first round, and I'll call on each of you. So the women here today are here because they have something deep to share, and they want to touch hearts and change lives with their message. And so I'd like to hear from each of you, what is one ingredient that makes for meaningful writing or makes for a meaningful book? What is one ingredient that makes for meaningful writing or helps make a meaningful book? And I'd like to call on Monique first. Monique, you've got a minute to share with us one ingredient.
So I would say the most important ingredient for a meaningful book is that before you go to write or before you work on your book in any sense, that you pause and you first connect to yourself, that you connect to your heart, to your soul's purpose. And what is the gift that you want to gift this world? What is it that you want to offer to the next generation? And as you are writing, if at any point you feel disconnected from that, pause and reconnect. One of my favorite things to do, whether I'm writing a post for social media or a chapter in a book, is I notice what I'm feeling while I write. Because if I don't feel anything when I'm writing it, they won't feel anything when they read it. So that's what I'd say, connect to yourself and bring and infuse feeling. Notice what you're feeling, because that will be transferred to your reader.
Beautiful. Thank you, Monique. I can't agree enough. Wonderful. Beth, welcome.
Thank you, Monique. I just want to totally underscore that. I view fiction and nonfiction writing as a vehicle for truth telling. So sometimes that truth is uncomfortable or may be perceived from the outside world as taboo or ugly. But it's our job as artists, as creatives, as truth tellers to put that on the page. So one of the biggest things that I notice I need to do as a writer, and I counsel my writers to do, is give yourself time to be not writing, if that's the case, because living comes first, writing comes second. So, for example, grieving is something I've put into my work. So giving myself space for that so it can transform into my story. So make room for the feelings, even if it means not writing.
Thank you. Beautiful. I just got goosebumps. Really beautiful, Beth. Thank you so much. Vanessa.
Thank you. I love what everyone has shared so far. And I think what I would add to that, for me, this is all very fresh. I published my very first book last fall. From my own experience, what I can say is that one of the most important ingredients is vulnerability. Being willing to really dive deep into your own story and share it with your readers in a way that allows them to really see the most raw or messy or fragile or sensitive parts of you, the parts that were essential to your own transformation. And that's what's going to draw the reader in and allow them to really feel deeply connected to you, even if your book isn't about you. My book was nonfiction, but sprinkling parts of my story throughout it, I think really helped it be very relatable.
Thank you so much. June.
Yes, loving what everyone is saying. And to that, I would add one ingredient that really makes for a meaningful book on kind of a brass tacks level is clarity. And the thing about clarity, right, is that it's often elusive. So authors often sit down to write with a jumble of these inspired ideas, kind of popcorning all over the page. And then when they go back and read it, it's like this beautiful cosmic download, which is incredible. But the next step is to turn that flow of consciousness into a clear narrative. And the mistake that writers often make, I feel, and in my experience, is that to get clarity, sometimes they call on only their brain power to do that, to try to sort through everything mentally. And I would just encourage writers to steer clear from the hamster wheel of pure mind when you're sorting through your ideas, and to gain clarity in your writing by engaging with nature, what Beth was saying, engaging with your feelings and with yourself, and just tuning in to any kind of mindful or embodiment practices that have you gaining that clarity from a very intuitive, body-centered place.
Thank you so much. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I also, before we go into our next question, I want to just take a moment for everyone here to just acknowledge the wisdom that just came through in the chat, to really see like this beautiful bouquet of such variety of books that the women here in the audience are in the process of writing or dreaming into reality. And to just take an unrushed moment, wise women, to really lean in and look in the chat and just allow yourself to feel the inspiration of our collective of women here today. Really, really beautiful. Yeah, so inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing your dreams with us. So our next question, and this is the same thing, panelists, you'll have 1 minute in this particular round, so it's another quickie round. And so this question is, it's kind of a twofer. I couldn't quite condense it into just one question. Oops, let's see, here we go. It's how can women, this is where we're talking a little bit more about kind of how do we tap into our message? And so how can a woman here write a book that embodies her transformative message? And I think some of what was just shared definitely ties into that, but you could also potentially share a practice that you use to tap into your creativity, to tap into your genius or your story. So however you want to answer that tangle of questions, please do. So I'm going to go ahead and actually have Beth share first this time. Beth, welcome.
Thank you. My very favorite practice, something I still use today after 20 years plus of writing and 16 novels and all this stuff, is timed writing. My preferred time, and play with this, see if you like it, is 20 minutes. I allow myself 20 minutes, whether it's handwriting or typing, to just write whatever, however, repetitions, typos, anything and everything, where everything is permissible. All the parts get to talk to each other. I invite the parts, the grumbly part, the crying part, the 2-year-old, the adult, everybody, the inspired one, and see who's there, and we talk. And this 20-minute timed writing is inevitably always a breakthrough of some kind, and it gets my juices flowing. And then I use that to work on my book. In fact, I call it journal to write. And but it's also, it's permission to do whatever. And this is a very practical tool that I use just about every day. I am not kidding.
Awesome. Thank you. Monique.
I love this question. And the practice that I do, it's very simple, but I go out to the back of my property and I lay on the dirt and I'm in the grass and got the trees overhead and I can hear the stream going by. And I lay there until I can connect with our original mother, until her heartbeat is my heartbeat, until I am one with the earth and I can notice the blades of grass and I could admire the clouds overhead. And when I'm in tune with that, I'm actually in tune with what is truly alive. This is life. And sometimes in our modern society, we're really caught up in an artificial existence. But I find that when I am in that space, then my creativity, my genius, my essence, and where I come from can come through in everything else that I do.
Powerful. Thank you. June.
Yes, 100%. I am also very much a nature inspired gal, and I want to share a couple resources with you. This is a blog post on 15 surprising places to tap into your creativity This is based on Blue Mind science. The book Blue Mind was written by a friend of mine, and it's basically how being in, on, near, or underwater really helps us tap into our deepest creative selves. It allows the part of our brain that wants to communicate in a very clear and connected way. So if you get a chance, go ahead and check out that blog. But Blue Mind Neuroscience is what I based my elemental approach to embodied writing on. And I have a couple more resources I want to share with you. In a very quick nutshell, it's basically the practice of tuning into our own elements, the fact that we are not separate from nature, we are nature. So every time I sit down to write, I check in with myself. Air, how am I breathing? Earth, am I grounded? Is my blood sugar okay? Do I need to eat something? Ether, am I rested? Do I need to take some time to meditate? Fire, have I moved my body? Do I need to, stretch or move in such a way? And water, am I hydrated? Do I need to urinate? Do I need to let go of some things before I sit down to write? So as the next speaker comes on, I'm just going to go ahead and share the links with you to those resources.
Thank you. Wonderful. I love the connection to nature and wellness and balance that's being spoken to here. Wonderful. Vanessa.
Thank you. Those are all such powerful practices. The one that I would love to share is something that I do every day for myself. And one of the things I work with my clients around also, and that is using movement as a meditation, using movement as a sacred practice to get you back into your zone, back into balance, center you, bring you back into your zone of genius. And it does a couple of things for me. Number one, it helps me to release anything that's stuck, any kind of stuck energy, any blockages. And then that creates the space for inspiration and intuition to come through. And so anytime I'm writing or doing something where I really, really need to be tapped in, I put on music, even if it's just for 2 minutes, and I allow my body to move in the ways that my body wants to move. And it always allows that space to for that inspiration to flow through.
Vanessa, I love that you said that, because I also, for many years, have had the experience of my best business ideas, my deepest inspirations have come when I'm in a state of revelatory dance. So thank you so much for naming that. Beautiful. And I'm really appreciating too, June and Beth have put some more resources in the chat. So I will include these also for you in the email I send out afterwards. All right. So audience, we're going to invite you to just do another little share. This is just, what takeaways so far are you, would you like to share? Anything that's just any little nugget, anything that's been shared so far that you just want to name and claim by typing in the chat, anything that you have experienced that you'll just be taking with you, like, oh yeah, I need to elevate that, or I need to be in nature more, or oh yeah, I really resonated with XYZ. So please go ahead and share in the chat a takeaway from what has been shared so far. So panelists, we're going to take a little bit of a dive into the business of writing a book that reaches thousands of hearts. And so panelists, this time each of you actually has 2 minutes. So you can go ahead and reset your timer for 2 minutes. And we're going to start with Monique. So Monique, and I'm going to ask each panelist a different question based on her experience, her genius. So Monique, you are an 18-time international best-selling author, and you are the founder of AMA Publishing, as you mentioned, which is an award-winning publishing company. What do you want women here to understand about the world of publishing? And you've got 2 minutes.
I want women to know that the world of publishing was not created with us in mind. And for many, many years, this has been a good old boys club. And it was actually illegal for women to own publishing companies or printing presses, newspapers, anything like that. We couldn't even inherit them. If our husbands died, it would go to our sons. And so when it was put on my heart to start a publishing company, I was told that this is our time. And I want you to know that publishing wasn't built with us in mind, but we get to reinvent it. We get to recreate it however we would like. And so what I invite you to do is to not look at the world of publishing and ask yourself, how can I fit into this world? But to ask yourself, who am I and what am I here to do? And how can I disrupt this industry by being myself? Because we are at a time when every rule can be broken. And you're probably getting the idea of what kind of rule breaker I am, and I love to ride with others. And so what I want you to know about publishing is it's wide open. Anything you want to do, any way you want it to look, it can look like that. There is no limits anymore. This is our time. And these are the kind of wild women that I run with. I want you to know that publishing is here for the taking. And all I want to know from you is, are you brave enough? Are you bold enough to take a hold of this and say, yeah, it is my time?
Thank you so much, Monique. Wonderful. It's a piece of history that I didn't understand and makes so much sense. And I just, Kristen just put fire emojis in the chat. I was literally just going to say, it just feels like I feel the fire in me lit in the way that you just are really, your, what do you call your rally call? I heard your rally call. Beautiful. Wonderful. Okay, Beth, you are an award-winning novelist and sister friend of many years. You're also a certified creativity coach for writers. You support authors to develop their unique visions and bring them into the world in the form of fully published books. So Beth, help us understand anything you'd like us to know about actually completing a book or any part of that process.
Yeah, one of the biggest challenges I see writers have is they conflate two very important parts of the process that really need to be separate. That is the writing part and the editing part. So as I shared earlier, that timed writing process helps you get into the flow so that you can really honor what is coming through. Like what Monique is saying, it's risky, it's scary, it puts us on the edge, but you really need to train yourself so you can have the writer self be present when it's time to write all the parts of the planning phase and the first draft. And then when you get to the editing phase, then you really bring online the part of you that can discern and critique and judge and mull over and try different things. So really honoring those two processes allows each one to really flourish and be powerful in each phase. And having done this dance many times and currently in the dance, moving into editing phase, I really also notice the in-between between writing and editing and all the fears and concerns and all the things that might start to come up as you move to the edit phase. Writing, in my opinion, is for you. Really be juicy, be true, be honest, be wild. Editing, now you're going from being in the cave, in the cozy cave, to noticing the audience, paying attention to the needs of the marketplace, paying attention to how you want to connect with them, be they clients, be they readers of your favorite, of what you're working on. So that is a big shift. And I'm just going to really honor that right now, because of course I have a million other things to say. But when you really leave space for this dance, it allows you to enter the editing phase with power and purpose and focus and a flavor for your book and really discerning that. So yeah, that's huge. And I'm literally right in that myself.
Thank you so much for speaking to something that it's currently alive for you, but also something that you have lived many, many times before in your long really history as a professional writer and author. And I'm really appreciating what you said about connection to the audience. Yeah, I just really felt that in both of there was a way that you answered a previous question as well. It's just like that, stay connected to the audience, and that's going to be my takeaway. So thank you so much for that. Vanessa, you are a best-selling author. You're also a first-time author. And I know that beyond that, you're also passionate about helping women really tap into our intuitive process and tap into our inner wise woman. And so, Vanessa, what would be helpful? What would be helpful to a first-time author? What would you like a first-time author to know about launching her first book?
Thank you. That is a great question. And as I said, it's very fresh in my mind. I began and completed my book within a 6-month period, from the very beginning to having it published and launched. And the only way that I was able to do that was with the support of a community. So my what I would love to share with you is, I think it's super important to create and cultivate support while you're going through this process. For me, it just felt like this really wonderful, safe container that I was in while I was having this first time experience, not knowing how it was going to go, not knowing the steps that I was going to need to take. And so I got support with the writing, I got support with the editing, with the graphic design, I got support with the launch. All of those things I made sure that I had lined up at the beginning so that I didn't feel pressure. Even though at the beginning, I really wanted to have it done in 6 months. I wanted to publish it around my 52nd birthday. And so I kind of had that deadline that I had set for myself, but it never felt overwhelming because I had so much support. And almost all of my support came from within this community that Jessica has so lovingly cultivated. And so for every part of the process, I would just implore you to surround yourself with loving, helpful support.
Thank you for saying that. I heard a woman talking about like kind of the book launch process recently in a way that felt kind of like stressed or clenched. And I really got to watch you, and I've watched other women in the community, really, I think because you gave yourself that time, and just so with such intention surrounded yourself with other people, other women in the community who really like love you and truly support you, that I really watched you get to lean back and receive and allow yourself to just be loved in that moment of birthing your book. It was really beautiful. And that's really what I would want for every woman here. So thank you for speaking to that piece. So we're going to step into something very special and interactive, in that each panelist is going to give you, audience. Oh, June, did I skip you? Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. I got so excited for the journaling. Okay. Erase. Here we go. June.
All good. And I will be snappy about this.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, all good. I had been thinking about a different way to answer this question. But after listening to Monique, I'm feeling my inner rebel getting fired up. And so I want to let the inner rebel speak for a second. I feel like for a long time, there's been stigma around self-publishing, that somehow it's not good enough, that we need to go through traditional publishing houses. And I want to just convey that whatever your publishing goals are, however you want to publish, I am completely without judgment in that way. I just want to say, though, that there are tools and resources out there where you can really take the power into your own hands at this juncture and get a very, very high quality self-published book out into the world. And so I just love the idea of, being on my own timeline, of not having to answer to different gatekeepers, to get my ideas out in the world as quickly as possible. And I know that I'm sitting in an incredible circle of people that have just amazing healing and insight and downloads and messages to get out into the world. So if I can just infuse you right now with the keys to just feel empowered to, as Vanessa was saying, find those people that can help you, that community that can help you to get your message out there as quickly as you feel comfortable getting it out there. So, brought to you by my inner 7th grader who rebelled against everything.
Oh, so perfect. No, that's just, quite honestly, didn't land as rebellious at all. So welcome, and such a perfect answer to the question. June knew the question ahead of time. I pasted it in the chat, which is really just, what do you want women to know about any part of the book journey? So how perfect. I really appreciate that. All right, so we're gonna dive into a little bit of journaling, where you, audience, are going to be prompted by each panelist to do a little bit of journaling. So I'll put on a little bit of music. So Beth, I'm going to turn it over to you. Beth, you have 1 minute to give any context and the prompt, and then we want to make sure we're going to give then the audience some time to journal. So Beth, 1 minute for context and prompt, and the floor is yours.
Hey everyone, this is a good time to just presence yourself, your feelings, where you are. Notice that you're in this amazing community, and it is a safe space for you to breathe love into your heart. Take a few breaths, and here's my prompt for you. In a moment, we're going to have some timed writing, and I would like you to ask yourself, what is my deepest fear about writing my book? I'll repeat that. What is my deepest fear about writing my book?
Beautiful. So audience, we're just going to take 1 minute to journal anything that's coming through. And I just put that prompt in the chat, the Zoom chat, if you need it. I know it wasn't a lot of time, but you can return to this at any time today or this weekend or any time in the future. And the intention for Beth's writing prompt was just to tap into unblocking anything that might be in the way of your creativity. And her prompt was to just tap into what is your deepest fear about writing your book. So now we're going to go ahead and switch gears for Monique, and I'll go ahead and put her prompt in the chat ahead of time. So Monique, take 1 minute to give any context, to ask your prompt, and then we'll turn it over to the audience to do a little bit of journaling.
Excellent. So what I would ask you to do right now is to look at your life up until this point. Notice what you are aware of in terms of where we are as a collective. What is crumbling? What is in front of us? And I want you to connect with what immediately comes to you when you hear me say, what is your soul's highest priority right now?
Wonderful. So audience, you'll have a minute to just journal whatever wants to come through. And we've pasted Monique's prompt in the chat as well. You can come back to this journaling question at any time. We're going to go ahead and move into our next question, which is with Vanessa. And I'll go ahead and type Vanessa's prompt into the chat. Vanessa, give a little context, state your prompt, and we'll do some journaling.
Thank you. These prompts have been so insightful. So for me, writing my book as a first-time writer, it was really super important for me to keep reconnecting to my biggest why, to my story, to what I wanted to share. And so one of the questions that really helped me to do that was when I was at the lowest point of my journey. What was the one thing that began shifting everything for me and was the turning point?
Beautiful. I love Vanessa's prompt to really tap into your soul's story, your soul's message. I went ahead and typed it into the chat for you, and audience, you'll have a minute to journal.
Jessica, you're muted.
Oh gosh, thank you. So now we're going to go ahead and move into June's prompt. And this prompt is all about connecting to the beautiful future of your book, connecting to your beautiful future as a writer. And so I'll go ahead and paste this into the chat. June, give any context you'd like and your prompt.
Great. So I want to just take a second to invite you to feel into your future self. Imagining, that you're at the end of your book writing journey. Your book is in your hands, or it's on Kindle, it's out in the world. And I want you to daydream about what really lights you up about this experience. What just makes you feel so giddy and effervescent to be in the moment of seeing your book come to fruition.
Beautiful audience, you'll have a moment to do some journaling around this. I want to invite you to come back to any of these journaling questions at any time. Thank you so much, panelists, for just allowing us the time and the inspiration to just dive into some of these really beautiful facets, just such deep appreciation. So let's just take a moment collectively to go ahead and just take a deep breath in and out. And I'll just name that in a moment, in a little bit, we're going to open it up for Q&A, and you'll be able to unmute yourself at that time a little bit later and ask the panelists any questions. You can also follow up with them in a little bit. I'm going to have the panelists repost their contact information in the chat. And we're going to go into another round that's a little bit more practical. So in this next round, we're going to talk about what you can do to start right now, even before your book is written, to kind of move towards that bestseller success. So we're going to dive into the practical. And so before we do that, I want to just take a moment to share with you about our upcoming trainings, because as you mentioned, this is part of a series. So we want you to feel totally supported through your entire journey of writing, crafting, and publishing and launching your dream book. And I'd like to invite you to attend all upcoming trainings in our Write, Publish, and Launch Your Book series, so that you have the tools and the community and the wisdom that you desire and that you need to birth your beautiful book out into the world. So I'm going to take a moment to tell you about our upcoming trainings and how you can access them essentially for free. So coming up next, our next training is how to finally finish and publish your best-selling book. We touched on this today, but we're going to go much deeper into that nitty-gritty of finishing and actually publishing your book. And if you have more than one book you know you're meant to write, or you want to write professionally in any capacity, we're going to be offering the business of being a pro writer and how to stay connected to your creative spark, and just doing a deep dive into that world. And then we're also going to go much deeper than we did today into book PR and getting your book and your message out to the masses to successfully launch your book and get it into the hands of thousands. And so you can attend all of these trainings for free as a member of our Rise Sisterhood, and also enjoy our Transmissions writing retreat. The next one is coming up in about a month. In our Transmissions retreat, you enjoy dedicated time to hunker down, to work on any writings. You also enjoy an open mic where you can actually read us your writings and get loving reflection and be celebrating. And so this is included. And we're also passionate about prosperity being in the hands of women light leaders like you. Because when women light leaders have wealth, we give back. We support social justice and humanitarian causes. And we want you to be able to transform the world with your message and your money. So as a member of our Rise Sisterhood, you get a free pass to all of our money elevation trainings. Our next one is coming up in 2 weeks, which is all about how to grow a restful 7-figure business with your spiritual message. So these trainings and retreats are included in our Rise Sisterhood membership, as well as monthly networking circles where you can network and surround yourself with heart-centered women leaders all over the globe. These women will become your book launch team. Our Rise Women's Communities has supported many women to reach bestseller status with their book launches. You may recognize the faces of a few women right here in the slide. Just in the past year, these women all achieved bestseller status with their books because they took the time to network and heart connect and gather a supportive book launch circle to share their books widely out into the world. And that's what I want for you as well. And finally, Rise Sisterhood includes unlimited access to our Queen's Council circles. Here you receive loving feedback on any part of your business or your marketing message. You can come to Circle to craft a clear, attractive message for your future book, and be sure the way that you talk about your book out in the world really resonates. You do not have to figure out anything alone. Bring any part of your business to Circle and we will help you. So the Rise Sisterhood membership is only $111 per month because we're dedicated to making sure that you have the wisdom that you need to birth your book, create financial freedom, and even network and build your book launch team and elevate your existing business and your book marketing message. The Rise Sisterhood membership is only $111 per month, but I'd like to invite you to join today for $33. So please come join with us. I'm going to go ahead and put the link to join right in the chat. So if any part of you is leaning in and feeling the yes to becoming part of this community, you can go ahead and click the link that I just put in the chat to join Rise Sisterhood. You can go ahead and right now register and then just enter code RISE33 to join today for $33. This code expires when our Zoom session ends today, but as soon as you're in, you can immediately start to RSVP for circles and for networking. And of course, your membership is 100% tax deductible if you're a business owner, And I want to invite you to bring your biggest dreams with you. Join us to continue learning. Rise Sisterhood is all about women lifting each other higher and allowing yourself and your book to be lifted higher. So again, the discount code that I shared in the chat expires when our Zoom session ends. So go ahead and join right now if you like. And I hope this is a community that you choose to be a part of for years to come. All right. So while women are joining, we're going to go ahead and dive into our next panel round. And I really love this one because this is all about starting to take steps now, wise women, to guarantee your bestseller success. So panelists, go ahead. This is going to be another lightning round, 1 minute each. I would love for you to share how a writer here, how any woman here can start right now, even before her book is written, to guarantee her bestseller success. So I'd like to go ahead and start with June. June, welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm just looking for my timer. There we go. Okay. So to set yourself up for maximum success right now, like right here in this moment, I would really encourage you to take the time to feel into your future self. Similar to what the writing prompt alluded to, giving yourself the sacred time and space to really answer the question of, what really lights you up about being a writer? Why are you the person to write your book? Getting super clear on that answer will put you on the pathway towards clarity and towards a bestseller. And then the other question would be, what transformation were you born to facilitate for your ideal readers and clients? And again, just taking the time to get clear on these questions will connect you with your deepest, most authentic self, and will open that channel of co-creation with the universe, so that you're not just pushing from the brain, trying to come up with your bestseller, but that you are so in alignment with your truest, authentic answers to these questions that the words just come. And that's how bestsellers are truly written. Thank you.
Thank you so much, June. Monique, welcome.
Thank you, Jessica. So this is one of my favorite aspects to writing. And what I invite you to do is to ask yourself, what do I hope will happen as a result of me publishing my book? Most of the time, these are unspoken hopes and dreams. I hope to get on lots of podcasts. I hope to be featured in the media. I hope to speak on stages. I hope to grow my business. Whatever might come to you, the step that I'm going to give you right now can help your book become a bestseller and help you achieve all of that and more. And what I would say is this: cultivate a circle of 12 women around you who will support you with absolutely everything. These are 12 women that will share your book when it comes out. They'd share your offers. They'd make introductions. And the way that I do this in the easiest way is I handpick 12 people. I check in with them for 20 minutes every single week. And I begin to look at what they want and need. And I'm very clear about what I'm asking them and how they can support me. And that ask will change as this journey unfolds and as the book is written. So find your 12. You can change the world with 12 women beside you.
I love that so much. Thank you so much. Beautiful. Vanessa.
Thank you. I love those answers, and I am going to piggyback a little bit on what Monique just said. Community is so important, and having that support is crucial. And so my advice would be to start thinking about the launch at the beginning. Give yourself plenty of time. to cultivate that support, give yourself plenty of time to research Amazon algorithms, things that, some of the logistical details that you're going to need if becoming a bestseller is one of your goals. Plan out your pre and post launch ahead of time, because you don't want to wait till the end. You're going to be too involved in so many of the other details. So give yourself time to begin with the end in mind, and really, as Monique said, cultivate your supporters and reciprocate. Make sure that that you are receiving support, but that you also know how you can then in turn support them as well.
Thank you so much. Beautiful. I just love the community weaving, heart weaving that's being spoken to here. Beth, welcome.
Yes, I totally second and third and fourth the notion of community. Build your community, build your list, start gathering names, even if you don't yet have some kind of email marketing system. And also daydream about the big-hearted ways that you will share your message. What would be most fun? What would light you up? What would be exciting? There are no rules when it comes to marketing, just your heart and your integrity. Reach for the stars. And I am talking about marketing, be creative, be silly, be outlandish. And throughout the whole process, have fun, reconnect to what is fun for you. This is such a long haul. It's a marathon. Really make it juicy and make it fun. And what that's going to look like is going to be unique to you.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. All right. So this is my favorite part. This is our final geek out round, where each of you gets to speak to any final little nugget that just has to be said. So I'm going to go ahead and have you also share 1 minute. This is also an opportunity, panelists, to go ahead and paste your contact information in the chat once again. So audience members, you will have the contact information. They've shared it before, but please save this contact information and don't do it alone. Reach out to these incredible women. So panelists, you get to take this next minute, each of you, wherever you want to share how the audience can connect with you. So any final thought, tip, advice, and let's go ahead and open it up, starting with Monique.
Thank you, Jessica. Okay, so what's the final tip that has to be said? Especially if you're a business owner, but in general, if you're looking to write your book and you want to get it out in the world, you want to have the greatest impact and you want to have the best experience, my number one tip would be, do not learn the publishing world. Do not decide to become an expert in this industry. Keep yourself where you belong in your business, in your area of expertise, and hire people who are already experts at publishing. You do not want to learn a whole new industry while simultaneously writing and running your life and business. So what I like to do is surround myself with people who have already mastered certain skill sets. That's what you want to tap into. Otherwise, you will find that not only will you probably not enjoy the experience nearly as much as you could, when you get to the end, it might not feel like you thought it would. So what I would tell you is make sure that you stay and you mind your business, you put your heart on a page, and you bring in other people to support you on your journey so that you can experience it the way that you want it to be.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Monique. Wonderful. Beth, I'm going to have you go next. Hey, Beth.
There's so much that could be said here. Every one of us is unique and has a unique creative process to go from idea, seedling to finished book. So really honor that process, akin to what Monique is saying, and it may look very different than you expect. So that unknown, that we don't know what's out there. Creativity is full of unknowns. So really be open to that and learn to be comfortable to dance with those unknowns and let them break your heart open, wide open, so that you can bring your unique, amazing message out into the world. Yeah, I'm going to leave it with that.
Beautiful. Vanessa.
Thank you, Jessica. I would love to reiterate, I think it's just so important to allow people to help you. So many times we think we need to do everything on our own or parts of it on our own, and really, please just ask for support, allow yourself to receive it and to reciprocate. And my naturopath side wants to come out and say, make sure you're taking care of yourself through the process. Fill your own cup. Make sure that you have supportive practices with, the way that you eat, your lifestyle, making sure you get enough sleep, making sure you are creating a very restful and spacious container for yourself so that you can really bring your wisdom and your gifts and all of you to your project. Thank you.
Gorgeous. Thank you again so much, Vanessa. June.
Yes. Firstly, I want you to understand that writing a book, just like building a business or running a business, can feel very young, which is to say that it takes a lot of fire and a lot of air, these feelings of like pushing and moving and hustling and iterating on the physical plane, on the mental plane. And while it's important to cultivate these aspects at times on your book writing journey, it can also lead to total burnout, which isn't how books get written and completed. You don't want to end up just a leveled pile of ashes on the ground. So similar to what Vanessa was saying about self-care, the antidote to this is to be gentle with yourself, to walk the book writing path like it is a divinely guided practice, because it truly is. And the more that we can access the yin principle, which is flowing and calm and peaceful and connects us with our intuitive knowing, this is what helps us slip into those just total embodiment moments of presence, more earth-like and water-like and fluid. So if you didn't have a chance to grab the resources up above in the chat about the elemental approach to self-care, I'll go ahead and post those again now and just really invite you into your self-care practice with nature. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I knew when I was coming here today and just kind of in connecting with you panelists that there would be so many soulful threads woven in, but I've also been really struck by the holistic thread that's been woven in by each of you. And just, yes, it's like my wish for every woman here is that her book is like a delicious, delightful, generative, creative project. And that one thing that kind of came through as I was kind of writing the emails to share with my audience about this training was, it was something like that your book would live as a vessel for the legacy of your teachings and an expression of your transmission. And I just love the way that each of you really spoke just so beautifully to women just staying connected to their centers, to what's greater than them, to nature, to be fully resourced in bringing their beautiful book in. So thank you so much. Wow, I just have so many goosebumps have come in as you ladies were sharing. So thank you, Monique, June, Beth, and Vanessa, from the bottom of my heart. This has been wonderful. We are going to open it up for Q&A, and we're going to leave the recording on for the Q&A. So here's what we're going to do. If you know how to toggle the little hand raise, you can go ahead and raise your hand, and then I can call on you to ask your question. If you don't know how to do the little hand raisey thing, that's okay. You can actually unmute yourself and state your name and ask your question as well. So we're opening it up for Q&A. So if you've got a question, now's the time. Go ahead and do your little hand raisey. What is it called? A reaction. If you kind of go down at the bottom of your Zoom screen, there's a little reactions. Awesome. I see Tazima has her hand raised. So Tazima, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and then just bottom line your question as briefly as you can, and we'll open it up.
My question, so I am in the process of writing, and I'm noticing that I'm getting distracted by life and that I don't have the same time each day to write. So any idea, and I am deeply concerned about getting this book out. So that's not the problem, but anything you can say about getting that time in over time.
Wonderful. Yep. I was called on Beth. I was like, Beth has the most amazing thing to say about this, because I've heard her say it before.
I don't know what that is, but essentially you may want to highlight some of the key times for you that do work, and block them off on your calendar if you can, so that it triggers you to go, oh yeah, oh, I do have that open window. And discern for yourself, what is the minimum amount of time that you need to write to feel that sense of accomplishment, whether it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, even 5 minutes is amazing. I love 20 minutes, but so there might be 3 or 4 openings in your calendar that you can start to ground, make sacred, and find, life moves around, find what that is, and also identify what's your best writing time during the day, morning, noon, or night. Mine is right after lunch, but it's movable, and just start to, so that your physiology starts to anchor into those times, along with the day cycle. Does that make sense? Yeah, cool.
And I'll just name the thing that I heard Beth say this in the very first talk I ever heard her give, probably about 15 or plus years ago. And I never forgot it, which also speaks to, like, she's an incredible speaker. But she said, writing begets writing. And that she gives her clients a practice of committing to writing for like that minimum time every single day. So whether that's, the 15 minutes, whatever it is doable, 15 minutes or 30 minutes even, because of the generative experience of just writing, even just for that little bit, cumulatively after even like a month or 2 months, is actually makes a huge difference. And I've really taken that to heart, just in terms of weaving that into my business. And being able to pass that on to clients, because I often work with clients on their marketing message. And it's just, so Beth, the seed of that wisdom, that phrase, has served so many women. So hopefully that there's something in that for you, Tazima. Do any of the other panelists have anything they want to speak to Tazima's question? Otherwise, we can move to Lori's. Yeah, June.
Just super quickly, I would just like to encourage you to reallocate any energy that's going into worry about not writing enough into the actual writing and to maximize even those 5 minutes that you have today by doing something like thinking about it while you're in the shower. I mean, how many of us have had our best ideas while in water? It's this blue mind principle that I was talking about earlier. Neuroscience shows that, turning on even a YouTube video of a water scene or listening to water sounds gets us into that heightened creative flow state. Even the language, right, is water oriented. So if you have 5 minutes to write, instead of going, oh my gosh, I only have 5 minutes to write, darn it, this means my book isn't going to get finished. More, it's like, okay, I'm in my house, I'm going to put on a YouTube video with a waterfall, and I'm going to write gloriously for those 5 minutes. So turning it from stressful into a calming practice.
Awesome.
Thanks, appreciate it. Thanks to all the panelists too. Y'all have been amazing.
Thank you, Tazima, for the question. Really appreciated. Lori, welcome. You can unmute yourself.
Thank you. My question is, when is the best time to bring in an editor? So I have lots of chapters started and working on those, and just when is really the best time to bring in an editor?
Go ahead, Beth.
What a great question, Lorraine. What I notice, people are ready for an editor when the entire manuscript is written. That's my preference. Although some people will come with an outline, which is harder to gauge. Yeah, so that's, I think the first draft needs to be written. I also think that it's good to start researching editors ahead of time, researching how they work and their rates and what start to discern your own preferences and build relationships so that it isn't that strange transition period where you're like, I don't even know who to turn to. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Vanessa, I'd love to hear from you on that one, because you so recently wrote your first book. Do you have anything you remember learning about that particular piece?
I would just underscore what Beth said. Make sure that you are vetting editors before you need them, so that when your manuscript is finished, then you know who you're going to go with. That was critical for my timing, and what I wanted to do is to know ahead of time which editor I wanted to go with.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much, Lori, for your question. Lorraine.
Thank you.
Hi, Lorraine.
Hi, so happy to be here, and I got inspiration from things that all of you said to help me write my second book. So thank you so much. My question is, okay, I wrote a memoir with a lot of help from the goddess and a whole team that I brought in, but it cost quite a bit of money. And I don't know that I can afford to do it again for the second book the way I did. And also my second book is a very, very different book. It's related to my business about conflict transformation instead of a spiritual memoir. And so I guess I have some, I don't know, cynicism. And my book launched beautifully. I learned so much, but then it's kind of died and I went into shame. You know, I'm not putting it out there. And that's part of my trepidation with the second one too. And so I guess what I'm asking is, how do you do it without, you know, huge amounts of resources to put in? Because really, I think I spent a total of $8,000 or even maybe $10,000 with a developmental editor, an editor, a wonderful book designer, you know, line editing, a sensitivity reader, a launch person, and they were all wonderful, but it was pricey. And
Thank you, Lorraine. Beautiful. Yeah.
Jessica, can I answer this?
Yes, please.
So you said some key words right there, because you said this book is more related to your business. So for me, my ears perked up because I heard business. So the beauty about writing a book that's related to your business is that it will actually generate revenue, and it can generate revenue before you even publish it. So what I would invite you to do is look at what are the offers that most directly correlate to your book and to the principles you're teaching in it? And I would actually cultivate that launch team to also be your program promotion team. So I would do fundraising on the front end, and then I would also weave it on the back end. So most of our authors, they make $50,000 to $100,000 on the back end of their book launch because we pair it with their offers. So if you're a businesswoman in this audience, it's not about lowering your expenses, it's about increasing your revenue. That's how business people think. So what I would say is I wouldn't skimp. And what I would say is you're very, very, like, it's very common for a book to launch and then for it to sort of die. And what I would say is it's not too late and you don't have to feel bad about it, because you probably needed a breather and a victory lap. The cool thing about books is that you can sort of have a mini launch every quarter with fresh ideas that will also give you a cash infusion.
I love that so much. We're going to move on to the next question just because, boom, mic drop. That was wonderful. All right. So Miki, I saw that your hand was raised. Welcome, Miki. And thank you so much, Lorraine, for the question.
So this might be a quick answer. How does artificial intelligence play into all of this? I know it's not really new. It's been around 20 years, but it's introduced into the public now. So how does it play out here?
I can speak to this as I've been playing with ChatGPT a lot. Just know that ChatGPT is built. It's a language model, and it's built on other people's work. So none of it is actually yours. So be careful about that. It has been very useful in terms of writing first drafts, like a writing assistant for marketing specifically. It's horrible at prose, in my opinion, because it can't do emotion. It's just mimicking. So be very careful when you use it. It has been useful for marketing, for, posts, tweets, emails, just to help create the bones of things. But remember, it's not yours, and they scraped the internet essentially, including copyrighted materials. So use it with caution and discernment.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. Looks like there's a lot of questions about ChatGPT. I want to just, in service of kind of what was actually talked about today in the panel, move on from the ChatGPT question, because I feel like I could imagine just like a whole very entertaining podcast episode just about that piece. So I'll invite you, as you reach out to each of these women individually, as you feel drawn, to just continue with those questions in terms of weaving that into your own process, if that's a fit. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next question. But Miki, thank you so much for bringing that, because it's just like, ooh, I know that that's definitely very much in women's minds. Rachel, so wonderful to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm hiding in the other room during nap time. Hi, everybody. My question is actually about working with literary agents, and if anybody's had experience with that, if that's a route that you would suggest taking. I'm a little bit on the fence about kind of doing a self-publishing thing, just to feel like I have ownership over, my work, versus I don't really understand the ins and outs and the nuances of going through literary agents to a publishing house versus self-publishing. So if anybody can speak to that, I appreciate it.
Great, Monique. Yes, please.
Okay, so what I would ask myself is, am I okay with someone else telling me what can go in my book and what cannot go in my book? Am I okay being on someone else's time frame? Am I okay with them telling me the box I have to fit into? And am I okay with them owning the rights to my book and retaining most of the royalties? If you're okay with all of that, then getting a literary agent and going with a publisher is probably the right path for you. If any one of those doesn't sit well with you, then it is not worth wasting 1 to 3 years on.
Thank you. Another mic drop by Monique. Fantastic. So we're going to go ahead and answer just one or two more questions before we complete. And I just want to say I'm so delighted. I just looked at my phone, and it was wonderful to see all of the registrations come in for Rise Sisterhood. So thank you so much. Welcome for those of you that joined. It's going to be so wonderful to be in community with you. So thank you so much. We're going to dive into our next question. If it got lost in the chat, here is the link once again for Rise Sisterhood. You can actually, there was a question that came in earlier. You can actually save the whole chat. You could do that right now. And then you've got Monique and June and Beth and Vanessa's contact information, all the great resources. I will also send a follow-up email with the recording and the contact information. But if you want the whole chat, you can actually save that right now or take screenshots with your phone, whatever works for you. And then that will just be saved right to your computer. So thank you so much, Rachel, for your question. Cherie, I see that your hand is raised. Welcome. And you're muted.
Of course I'm muted. Hey everyone. I'm working on my first book as a first-time author, feeling like I will go down the traditional publishing path, but I've also sort of been, I guess, thinking about the following Monique's comments before about business and trying to start my own business. I don't feel like a businesswoman, and I've had people kind of say you're a writer, not a business person. So I feel a little bit conflicted when I hear about the opportunities of monetizing and how to use a book to kind of get your message out into the world, and obviously need to pay expenses and have an income and that sort of thing. So I'm looking for advice on that, sort of how to choose between the two. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Yes, June, I saw your hand raised.
First of all, Cherie, I want to venture to say that you're both a writer and a business person. If the businesswoman in you is still being developed and born, that's totally okay. And just thinking to yourself, like, I can do this, I can learn new things. Entrepreneurs use their books as a way to leverage their stories out in the world to attract business. So the beauty of creating an actionable ebook to put out into the world is that if it's an ebook, it's live. So you can change the links to it. You can add offers to work with you at the end of each chapter. You can weave together your amazing stories and wisdom that you've been through with practices and strategies so that your prospective clients can get a taste of what it is that you do. So by the time they show up in your inbox, they've already gleaned a huge part about who you are, what your message is, what kind of healing you bring to the world. So the writer and the business worlds very seamlessly can be woven together. I hope that helps a little bit.
Thank you so much, June, for just so thoughtful and well-rounded. Any final thought on that last question before we complete for today? Yeah, Beth.
The challenging thing about being a writer sometimes is in relation to business is that the business world traditionally works in opposite to being a creative. Being a creative, we start with ourselves and we push it outward. And in business, they often look first to the marketplace and say, oh, what are the needs of the marketplace and how do I meet them? So the challenge is for us to notice, really ground ourselves in our values and then notice who is a match for those values. Oh, those are the people I will be offering to. So it's not traditionally taught to do business that way, but I take a stand for that and I teach that to really, your match is out there. There are people who resonate with you, and just never deviate from that. Do not contort yourself into what you think the marketplace needs. Be yourself. That's what the world needs.
I so agree, so resonate. Beautiful, wonderful. Thank you, Cherie, for your question. It really is the perfect question to tie up this whole conversation in just a nice little bow. Thank you so much, panelists Monique, June, Beth, Vanessa. Thank you so much for your time and your wisdom. And thank you, audience, for taking the time to be here. We will keep you informed around our upcoming trainings, etc., and keep you in the loop. Whether you're part of RISE community or not, please do stay connected to us and stay connected to Monique, stay connected to June, to Beth, to Vanessa. Don't lone wolf your book. Start now to surround yourself with support, with community. And we're just holding you and your book in our highest intentions, dear sisters, and hope that you're stepping into a nourishing next chapter. No pun intended. Thank you so much. Blessings.